in Bai?
At the moment, Louis, that's later on pa eh. So they're just getting started. They're just planting it. They're just getting their seeds eh. So we'll see in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, only because we need to prepare our schedule, because last week of July, maybe we have a service project, and then first week of August, you know, that will be our induction. So
I'll get back to you, President Louis, on that vegetable exchange date.
Yeah, no problem. We might be able to discuss it later tonight during our meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the countdown begins.
So, Professor Domingo.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
Dear, are you also a graduate of AIM?
Yes, I graduated in AIM.
Anong batch mo? Pareho ko ni Chris. Saka siyempre si Wilson, I guess, is also from AIM, the one who's going to introduce Professor.
Yeah, MM98.
What batch were you? You were?
MM98.
Did I teach your class, Ferdy?
Professor Rene, unfortunately, I never was in your class. Yeah.
I was probably in MBM, Ferdy, during that time.
Yes. It's sila Professor Tommy, sila Professor Ning, sila Professor Nieves.
Nieves Confessor.
Yeah.
Also Lenny, the wife of art.
Yes, Professor Lenny. And then Professor Asansa. Yeah.
Bing.
Yeah, Bing.
But I joined them afterwards. I taught MM for the next 10 years.
Sayang.
Yeah, sayang.
Professor Rene, sayang.
Anyway, you have my so I have my social media account. You can see all my ideas there, my website.
Okay.
Yun
Thank you.
din
Yes.
tinuturo ko eh. In fact, I have a YouTube channel that I use as reference for my MBA class, no? For operations. I'll show it later.
Okay. Yes. So that's why this is very interesting. This meeting this afternoon.
Yeah, let's see how far we can go. Huh? I've not been for 2 years now. There's nobody there.
Oh, on campus, huh?
Yeah,
Professor Rene?
For online.
Oh.
We're following the IATF guidelines and CHED, no? Bawal kasi. So Harold is here.
Wow.
Governor George is with us.
Pwede ba nakamask ka pa? May mga kasama ka ba dyan?
He's in his office daw in Ortigas eh. Kaya nakamask si Ferdy.
Yeah.
Ferdy? We're neighbors. I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here in Center Point.
Oh, I'm in near Tech.
Mimi. Teacher Tyrita. Mimi.
Better to keep safe.
My governor, Georgie Tan, and my classmates, life-changing presidents. Thank you for taking time for this meeting.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Gov.
I'm also helping out a bit some of them because I know who they are.
Hi, Press Louis. Hi, Gov
Hello.
Georgie. Thanks for joining.
Hi,
everyone.
Hi, Ed.
Wait lang na, Ian. 1 minute to go.
Yeah.
Ayan, at 2 o'clock. Go, we'll start on time also. Okay, shall we start?
Is Wilson there already? Yeah, okay.
I'm here na, I'm here.
Sige, toba.
Maunang gago. Padayon naman po. Okay, let's go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Fellow Rotarians, guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chris Perareza, and I'm your moderator this afternoon. And we have a very interesting topic on how to pivot any business during times of crisis by Professor Rene Domingo, who will be properly introduced later. So at this point, let me call on Attorney Boy Arteche, our protocol officer for the House rules.
Okay, good afternoon, comrades. I'm Attorney Arteche, the designated protocol.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Attorney Boy.
Okay, na? Okay. So I am Attorney Arteche, your protocol officer, and I'll be reading out our protocols. Okay. Our house rules. Number one, please be advised that microphones of non-program participants will be muted to help keep the background noise to a minimum. Second, may we request the visiting Rotarians and guests to please type in the comment box before your name, your club or affiliation, or the RCM Makati Rotarians inviting you to participate, so we can properly acknowledge you later in the program. For our open forum after the talk of the speaker, in case you want to ask a question, please use the raise hand button or simply notify us by typing in the comment box. Alternatively, you may want to type in your question and we will try to accommodate it during the Q&A. And lastly, please don't leave yet after the response of our President Louis, as we will have our group photo op with our speaker. That's all, folks.
All right, thank you, Attorney Boy. By the way, acknowledging the presence of our district governor, Governor Georgie Tan. Now for the to call the meeting to order, may I call on President Louis as the chair.
Good afternoon. I call this meeting to order.
Okay, thank you, President Louis. Now for the invocation, may we call on Director Ferdy Ordovesa, our invocator.
All right. Okay. All right. Dear Lord, today we gather once again for our regular weekly meeting. And may you continuously inspire us to be continuously generous and helpful to our brethren and sisters in need. You have been very good to us, Lord, wherein you have given us our profession and given us good health to go with it. In these times of challenge, like the pandemic and the political future for our country, we ask your continuous guidance always. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. For the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, please put your right hand over your chest.
building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, prepared to aid our fellow men, as true Rotarians we live to lead. We believe in service above self, and this is why we succeed. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, giving hope to the world. The Rotary Club of Makati.
Now, may I request my fellow Rotarians to please unmute your gadgets or computers, and let's all together recite the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
The truth.
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will
Will
it
it
build
build
goodwill
will
and
better
better
friendships?
And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be
beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, brother Rotarian.
Thank you.
All right, now let's go to greetings to birthday and wedding anniversary celebrators. For birthdays, we have our fellow Rotarians. Freddy Garcia, July 13. Rotarian Johnny C, July 13. Rotarian Jack Ponce Enrile, July 16. And Rotary Ann Menchu Concepcion, July 14. For wedding anniversaries, we have Rotarian Jolion and Ann Menchu Tiglao, July 17. Rotarian Leo and Luli De Leon, July 18. And Rotarian Howie and Ann Marla Calleja, July 18. Happy birthday and happy wedding anniversary. Okay, for the introduction of visiting Rotarians, do we have the list, Ron? Okay. We have with us this afternoon, of course, our first Ann, Tessa Sioche. We also have CP Machi Ackerman, Ann Nelder Dengson, EFA Yvonne Puan, and District Governor Joji Tan. Good afternoon and welcome to the club meeting. Did I miss anyone, Ron? Okay, I guess none. So let's now go to the next part of our program, which is the President's time. So may I call again on President Louis Asioche.
Yeah. Well, good afternoon, and thank you again, Governor Joji Tan, for gracing us with your presence today. This is the second meeting of the club. Good afternoon. Thank you, Chris. Dear fellow Rotarians, aunts, and guests, allow me to share with you our club's projects and activities last week, and also those we shall be looking forward to in the coming weeks. Last Friday, July 9, a group of us motored to Balete, Batangas City for a relief mission for 106 families currently sheltered at the Malabanan Elementary School. Details of the project are included in this RCM video news. Play a video, please.
more than 3,500 families evacuated in Batangas province due to the eruptions of the Taal volcano since July 1, Rotary Club of Makati initiated a relief operation to bring much-needed help to affected families in one of the evacuation sites. Departing Manila early in the morning, RC Makati team headed by President Louie and First Aunt Tess Asioche with IPP Peter Manzano and son Miko, Secretary Eddie Galvez and Chris Ferreza, met with RC Downtown Batangas, our project partner for the project.
Rotary Club of Makati at ang Rotary Club of Downtown Batangas City. So nandito po kami para magbigay ng kaunting tulong. Alam po namin hindi po madali ang mag-evacuate sa inyo pong mga tahanan, pero sana po ay kahit papano yung aming mga dala ay makatulong po sa inyo. Ano po?
Po namin na mahirap mawalay sa inyong tahanan, kaya kami narito para maski papano maigsa naman yung konti ninyong paghihirap at sa kalungkutan. Nagdala po kami ng grocery bag at ang aming kasama dito ang Rotary Club of Downtown Batangas at ang Rotary Club. May dala rin po naman sila mga face mask.
The relief operation brought bags of relief goods containing rice, canned goods and noodles, and sets of mat and blanket to 106 families currently evacuated at Malabanan Elementary School in Balete, Batangas. RC Downtown Batangas also distributed box of face masks per family. The project ended with a courtesy visit to Balete Mayor Wilson Moralit and a lunch hosted by RC Downtown Batangas at Sintay Resort.
Thank you again. That was Karil Batar, daughter of Ron, who did the voiceover for that AVP. I would like to thank again those who participated in this relief mission. Our super IPP Peter Manzano and his son Miko, Secretary Eddie Galvez, our moderator for today, Chris Ferreza, and of course, my lovely Aunt Tess. I'm hoping that more and more members will join us in our future projects and activities with the easing up of travel restrictions. Just recently, last Sunday, I joined Governor Georgie Tan and my classmate presidents in District 3830, and some of my classmates are here with us right now. Hello, classmates. On a visit to Wawa Dam in Rodriguez Rizal for a look-see at a district project funded by a global grant, which the district has initiated. We were able to plant 100 bamboo propagules and subsequently turn them over to the community residents for proper caring. This project is under the 7th area of focus of Rotary International, which is protecting the environment. Again, may I remind our members, the members of our club, of our induction ball and handover on August 6th at the Manila Pen. Chair Couple Bom and Ami Villatuya and the rest of the production team, which includes past President Junjun Dairit and Cecil Dairit, have put together an exciting presentation that will bookend the formal segment of our induction program. The Rotary Club of Makati has this tradition, which it has always been known for, of coming up with entertainment numbers which our members and aunts take time to rehearse to bring a presentation that would entertain not only our members and their spouses and partners, but our guests as well. We have 2 teaser videos to show to you today to drum up interest for this induction event. I am again showing to you the first Save the Date video for the benefit of our guests and my dear classmates, life-changing presidents in Rotary. The mugshots you will see on screen are the members of my incoming board. You could say that these guys have been captured or arrested, quote unquote, to serve time for the Rotary Club of Makati. Either that or they were planning to do a heist when, quote unquote, arrested. And that will be featured in the second teaser video that I will be showing by the end of this meeting before we adjourn. So stay tuned for that. Meantime, this is our Save the Date video part 1.
che passeranno. Oh, vela ciao, vela ciao, vela ciao, ciao, ciao. E le genti che passeranno, oh, mi diranno che bel fior. Questo è il fiore del partigiano. Oh, vela ciao, vela ciao, vela ciao, ciao, ciao. Questo è il fiore del partigiano morto per la libertà. Tutte le genti che passeranno. Oh, vela ciao, vela ciao, vela ciao, ciao, ciao. E le genti che passeranno, oh, mi diranno che bel fior.
So those are the directors, officers, and advisors of my board. By the way, we will be requesting our members and aunts at the Rotary Club of Makati to participate in one of the video presentations by sending over a 10-second video of you singing a part of the song, Smile. Details will be posted within the week. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. That's all for my time. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, please.
Thank you, President Louis. What a way to start your term. So before we proceed to the next part of the program, allow me to acknowledge the following who are also present this afternoon. Life-changing President Kuki Pendor, RC Rizal West, LCP Gigi Uy, RC Makati Dasmariñas, LCP Ray Lorca, RC Makati San Lorenzo. Other guests are Robert Abuan, Cas Asioche, Attorney Glenn Albano, Brian Alcantara, Tony Aquino, PP Bembot, RC Cosmo Cubao, Cesar Campos Jr., Nico Cruz, PP Harold Docomos of RC Makati Bel Air, Attorney Andre De Jesus, RJ Hamlan, Hector Magsumbol, Jocelyn Manalo, Connie May, Wenceslao Oscar, Gil Pamatmat, Marilyn Oliva, Vincent Punto, Lorraine Cason, Dr. Carlo Luis Santos, and Congressman Joy Tambunting. Welcome to our meeting. Now, let's go to the main part of our program. And to introduce our guest speaker, may I call on Rotarian Wilson Tan.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians and guests. Allow me to introduce our speaker this afternoon. Our distinguished speaker is an international consultant, an author, and a professor. He is a lecturer in the fields of operations management, production management, total quality management or TQM, turnaround management, productivity management, strategic planning, Six Sigma, world-class manufacturing, to name a few. He authored and co-authored books on total quality management, world-class banking services, and world-class manufacturing. He also is a publisher in his own website. You can look at rtdonline.com. It is a one-stop guide on business management. And also he has a YouTube channel, RTD Knowledge, which is a learning site to process analysis and process improvement. Our speaker is an industrial engineer and graduated magna cum laude from the University of the Philippines. With more than 30 years of consulting and training experience, covering manufacturing, construction, mining, petrochemicals, healthcare, banking, and advertising in Southeast Asia, India, Guam, Marshall Islands, Vietnam, and Germany. He completed his MS Management Engineering in Nagoya Institute of Technology with intensive hands-on training and experience in Toyota production system in Japan. He is a core faculty in Operations Management since 1982 at the Asian Institute of Management. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians and guests, let us all welcome Professor Rene Domingo.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Prof.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes,
we
Prof.
can.
Okay, so let me just start. Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. First, I would like to thank President Louis for this invitation. I'm quite honored to be the first speaker of this first meeting as president. So today I will talk about how to pivot any business during times of crisis, especially during this crisis we're experiencing right now. So a lot of things to share with you. Hopefully you will have some key takeaways after this short talk. I prepared something so that as many businesses and industries can benefit and relate to these lessons, hopefully, that you can take away. Okay, so I would have retitled this talk this way: business continuity, pivot or perish in the new normal. But I'm showing it because this will be the theme of my discussion today. Okay. So I've been writing books, as mentioned by Wilson, and coincidentally, they've been about crisis management. And the first one, Quality Means Survival, published by Prentisol, is about how to cope with the made in Japan quality onslaught. This was actually the first pandemic in the 1970s. You know, the Japanese were conquering all markets, all industries. So, and it's very hard to stop their aggressive attack, no, into all countries. So this is one. The other one I wrote is about the Asian financial crisis, which I co-wrote with an Indonesian consultant on how companies in Indonesia were able to survive and thrive. You know, this thing started in Thailand, then it spread to Indonesia and Philippines. So we wrote about best practices of companies there and how they overcome the effects of the crisis. Of course, by now you know what will be my third book. After this pandemic, I would love to write about companies who survived this long pandemic. Anyway, so we live in a VUCA world, very volatile, very uncertain, very complex, very ambiguous, especially now during this pandemic. So why are we talking about pivot? So this is the context where we're coming in. There's some sense of urgency. Okay, this is like first aid. This is not just about textbook lessons or how to improve management. Why? Because this is a one-off generational event. This is a 3-in-1 pandemic crisis that is one of a kind, no? One of a kind. We have not experienced this in our lifetime. Probably in 1918 during the Spanish flu, this was experienced by our great-great-grandfathers. But for us, this is something new. Why? Why do we need to rethink the way we conduct business? What's so different? First of all, it's a health crisis, economic and social crisis rolled into one. It is a very unusual crisis, unlike your typical Tal volcano eruption or typhoon or Asian financial crisis, which is, you know, a crisis you can recover from and you go back to the old normal. This is a little bit different because you don't go back to the old normal. You go back to the new normal, where the game would have changed and the rules would have changed and players would have changed. So let's deal with the short and medium health crisis. Of course, we're dealing with this right now. Okay, when will it finish? We don't know yet. Right? you don't know, herd immunity, vaccination, we still have vaccination issues, vaccination shortages, resistance, etc. So this will affect the timeline. Of course, we have the economic crisis, we have disruption, and to solve that, we have subsidize companies, turn around them. But this is not enough because there's a social crisis. This crisis is changing market behavior and social behavior, especially consumer behavior, which affects a lot of business. Okay, and this is going to be long and definite, long after the pandemic is over, okay, which I will discuss later on. So a lot of things we do during this lockdown will continue even though the pandemic has gone away, and this can affect demand for many businesses. And this is where we start to think of whether we divest or remake our business, which I call pivot. So conclusion, not all businesses and industries will recover when the economy recovers. Okay? So don't ever think that just because the economy recovers, you will recover. Not so, right? Not so. Not so. Not necessarily. In fact, IATA forecast that things will go back to normal in 2024. Just imagine, IATA is the spokesperson of the travel and tour industry. So this must be a very optimistic forecast. So the reality will be beyond 2024. Okay? It's the job of IATA to give optimistic forecast. But in spite of that, it mentioned 2024. So it's gonna be a long game. Okay? Long tunnel. Long tunnel. So I'm just sharing two surveys with you before we go to the pivot. This is a survey of 13 companies from Europe, Asia, US. You can see those 13 countries and from different industries and subsectors. And the question was, will you cut your spending? Huh? And the black squares is really the most serious. They will cut their spending by 30 to 50%. Just focus on the dark squares. Huh? So makeup, skincare, they said they will buy less. Okay, in food and grocery, restaurant and quick service, they will buy much less. Okay? Of course, this would have recovered in 2021, but this will be at the bottom of the list when things start to recover. Okay? Next would be entertainment. Okay, consumer electronics, books and print, services like personal care. The worst hit will be travel and transportation. Everything black, right? All countries and all subsectors, from gasoline to flights to hotel. And to think that 10% of global GDP is accounted for by travel and tourism industry, this is a bad news, right? This is really bad news. This will affect global economy. And apparel, of course, just like travel and transport, will be badly hit. Right? Jewelry, accessories, for good reason, because everybody's staying at home. And everybody, just like what we're doing now, is on Zoom. Right? And nobody really cares what you're wearing below your waist, if any. Okay? So these things really affect a lot of industries. So another survey before I start is from McKinsey. Okay, this is a survey of about 4,000 consumers last year in 91 countries. The key findings of that survey is discretionary spending will plummet by 90%. 90%. Of course, in 2021, this is still true, but not as much, but still huge. Okay? And to think that 1/4 to 1/5 to 1/4 of many countries' GDP depends on discretionary spending. Again, this is bad news for the economy. Okay? And in some sectors, or maybe many sectors, 50% of their sales or more is dependent on impulse buying and discretionary spending. So this is, again, a very difficult time for these industries. Okay? And finally, more specific, the Chinese and the Indonesian will buy less cars and buy less jewelry, okay, because of this pandemic. Huge, 50%, 61%, 39%. Again, the theme is demand has collapsed, right? In the medium, long term, and maybe permanently for many sectors. So we have to rethink, will we still be in business in the new normal? Maybe yes, most probably not. So when do we pivot? Now, pivot is not new. Okay? Companies have been pivoting since business has started for many reasons. I'll give you several examples later on. It's not just during crisis that you pivot. Okay? You pivot when sales are steadily declining. And if you keep doing more of the same, you're not going to make more money or more sales. So it's time to rethink what you're doing, your business model. And when it's the end of your product life, it's time to shed it and replace it with something else. You pivot to a new product. The other one, you're in a sunset industry, right? Even your competitors are going to have problems. So it's time to pivot, not the business, but the industry itself or the country that is dependent on that industry. Of course, there's a serious competitive threat, like the taxi is threatened by Uber and Grab, things like that, and hotel is threatened by Airbnb, okay? Or there is commoditization, so there's severe price competition. You cannot just fight the same old game. You get out of the game, change the rules. Of course, there is disruption, economic, technological, political, and of course, today we have the collapse of demand. We call it an unusual 3-in-1 crisis. So these are the major reasons why companies will have to rethink their business and business model, which we call pivot. Okay, so the key lesson here is do not just look at problems. Okay? We have to innovate during the crisis. We cannot wait for things to normalize to innovate. We have to innovate under duress. Okay? So there'll be new fears, new pain points, new expectation, new needs, which I will discuss later on, because it's VUCA. The world has changed, right? Now, we translate this to new markets, new customers, new products, new services. But I'm not talking of diversification, because that will take time. Okay? You find your niche, your blue ocean in this new opportunities without spending much, right? By reusing your assets. Okay. So how do you find a niche here? That's how we will survive. That's how businesses will survive the so-called new normal, because there will be new markets, new customers, new products, new services. Okay, so lifestyle changes. So what triggers this social crisis? Okay, that will impact us in the long term or maybe indefinitely. Right? Of course, people are worried about safety. People are afraid of people. People are afraid of going out. They're getting used to doing things online. They discover new opportunities, new productivity for staying at home. Okay? We discover a lot of things by staying at home. Okay? And this can, people will have second thoughts about really going shopping, traveling, things like that. Okay, and we're gonna be worried of safety, of new infection, not just new variant. Maybe what's the next pandemic like? Okay, because society has been traumatized by this one-off event. They've never experienced this. Okay, compared to SARS and Ebola and those Asian flu, those are nothing compared to this COVID-19, which is global and instantaneous. The world stopped because of this COVID-19. So this is what we're doing now, and this is both a problem and opportunity for many businesses. Okay, our social radius has collapsed. No, we don't move very far from our house. Proximity is now the key. We work from home, we dine from home, we sell from home, we teach from home, we graduate from home. Everything's we bank from home. Okay? So what will happen to many businesses that rely on in-person, face-to-face consumers and buyers? Okay? And not all businesses can be digitized. You cannot digitally transform most businesses into e-commerce format. That is not so. Right? Most goods are tangible. Very few are really digital. Very digital. So digital automation will not solve the problem. That's not the escape route. That's not the flight to safety. Okay, so we have to think differently. First, technology will help, of course. So, summary: this will be the new normal. The new social behavior will have to pivot into, right? Health, safety, convenience, frugality. Okay? People have lost their income. They've lost their dear friends. They've gotten sick, right? So they're traumatized. Okay? And this will change consumer behavior. whether you're doing B2B or B2C, all will be affected, whether you're doing tangible manufactured products or intangible services. So what will be the expectation? They want less contact, less interaction with the seller service provider without losing value, without losing value. They want traceability. They want to know where the product came from, where that frontliner came from. They want information. They want minimal movement to get your goods, minimal travel, minimal transport. As much as possible, if you can service them at home, they'll do it at home. They want value for money, affordability. They want to go back to basic essentials. Because of loss of income, they want to save money for the uncertain future. So this will be more, you see, gonna be the expectation in the medium to long term, if not permanently for some businesses. So let's go to some basic framework without really oversimplifying the problem. Let's classify businesses into 4 quadrants so that we know who will pivot and who should pivot more than others. So based on those expectations, we can divide industries into 4 sectors. First, divided into 2 categories. One is non-essential and essential. Non-essential will be, of course, the discretionary, impulse buying. And low touch, high touch means there is low touch means less contact with the buyer. High touch means very high in customer interaction, face to face. So this is just a map of the different industries. I posted this in Facebook and LinkedIn. So I may miss some industries or I may misclassify some, but in general, this is how it looks like, right? Everybody should stay in this quadrant, which I call northwest, right? Wherein you're doing low touch and essential. No need to pivot. You will have all the business that you want, right? Whether you're in commodities, drugs, power. The problem starts when you go southwards, right? Anything south, you start losing clients because you're going to the non-essential. And when you're going east, you're going to lose sales also. And the worst is you're going southeast to the non-essential high touch. Right? So this will be at risk. This will be at risk. So how do you move to the northwest? How do you pivot to the northwest or something closer to the northwest to up your sales? Now, very interesting data here is the right axis, in which percent of pre-pandemic sales. Now, the break-even sales of many companies is more or less about 70 to 80%. If your sales drop because demand has collapsed, even you recover 25 or even 50% of your sales, you're not out of the woods. You would still be burning cash and not making money. You have to recover 70 to 80% of your losses. Now, that's a tall order. That's very hard to recover if you're not going to pivot. So put it this way. So if you classify the 4 categories into this matrix, okay? Just to summarize, so I told you this is the safe quadrant, essential, low touch. Okay? Let's talk about 1 quadrant. Okay, essential but high touch. Here you only have to pivot the process. Process means the way you deliver, the way you manufacture. Okay, because people will buy your products, but they're afraid of getting it from you. So you improve it by reducing the touch points, going online. This is where the e-commerce guys are in. Okay? Or it's still face-to-face, reduce the contact time. The other pivot strategy is the product. You're doing non-essential, but it's low touch. Yes, it's safe, but they don't need your product. So you pivot into semi-essentials and increase the value for money. The most difficult position is the non-essential and high touch. You have to remake the whole business. You have to pivot your product as well as your process. I will give examples of it. Otherwise, you divest. You get out of that business to cut your losses. Okay? To cut your losses. Okay. So this is the map, right? So what is pivot? What's the benefit of pivot rather than diversification or conventional business transformation? Now, if you're gonna diversify and move to a new business, into the new normal, this takes time because you're starting from scratch, right? You invest a lot of money, you learn new skills. Learning curve is very slow and ramp up speed is very slow. It takes time. But if you pivot, you achieve the target level much shorter time. You can make it without declaring bankruptcy, huh? Or without getting foreclosed by your creditors. You can replace your legacy products or what we call old normal products with new products and still survive. This will take time. You don't know how long this will take, and a lot of investment. So the advantages of pivot is not just time, okay, or short learning curve. It's also you can rapidly come up with new products. You can scale it, call it time to market. And of course, you need minimal investment and manpower. Now, number 4 is very interesting because you save a lot of money, especially now that you have a lot of businesses don't have cash, okay? So how can you go to new industries with minimal investment? That's how you pivot. The other advantage of minimal investment is when you make a mistake in pivoting, your losses are small. Okay? Your sunk costs are smaller. Sunk costs are things you write off because you made a mistake in investment. So I'll talk about that much later. So what is and what is not a pivot? Okay. Now in the good old days, typical crisis, in the Asian financial crisis and the more recent one with the subprime crisis, in America. Once the economy recovers, everything's back to the old normal. So the typical way to cope with this is, restructuring, subsidies, downsizing, right-sizing, streamlining, or consolidation. Now, this is not necessarily pivot because you're going back to the same value proposition, same business model, and same customer experience. And you can make it. You will survive because there is no new normal. You're back to the old normal. The problem is when you have a social and financial crisis, when you recover back to a new normal, you cannot apply these strategies. You will still stay irrelevant and unwanted. This is the time you totally pivot your business model. Okay. So more precisely, what is and what is not a pivot? Okay. So pivot starts with a question. What are our strengths and competencies? Okay? Core and non-core. Not just core, but even non-core. So just inventory of what are your strengths. And then where do you find it? In your product, process, in your plant, people, property, position, partners. Okay. So this is where you search your strengths. Use strengths that you can monetize. You can productize, you can repurpose, you can extend, you can leverage. Okay. So you're not really reinventing the wheel. Huh? Okay. You're looking at your strengths and capitalizing on this so that you move to the next level, which is to serve new needs and new markets. By coming with new value proposition, which is compelling value for money, you dramatically cut costs and you give them a game-changing customer experience. So this is pivot. This is pivot. Okay. You're starting from what you have. Okay. Now, what is typical transformation? This is the one. This is diversification. You're starting from scratch. You don't care about what you have. You're building just to get away from the old normal. This will take time and high risk because you may enter into an area which is not your core competency, which is very dangerous. You'll be burning more cash if you make a mistake going into an area that is not your competence. Okay, so where from and what to pivot? Okay, so just to drill down, look at your existing competency and talents. Look at your unused competency and talents. Look at your hidden competency and talents. Existing resources, assets like manpower, machine, technology, infrastructure, and intellectual property. Maybe you have idle resources and assets you can monetize. Your existing position and location, this may have value, including your reputation and goodwill. How you can use this convert them into new value proposition. Look at your existing markets and customers. Maybe you can see opportunities there. And of course, your existing network and supply chain. So in other words, you have to revisit your old normal SWOT analysis. Right? Your strength before may no longer be a strength today. It can be a weakness. And your weakness before could now be a strength. What was opportunity before can be a threat today, and what was a threat before could be opportunity. So you have to keep an open mind when you pivot. Okay? You have to throw away your old SWOT analysis. Okay? Under the new normal, you have to make a new one because the market has changed. Okay, so this is one of my posts, and I summarized the 7 key pivot strategies. One is reimagine your business model, reinvent your products, okay? Productize the pain points, rethink your markets. Instead of market share, look at share of market, or re-engineer your process, give them a better customer experience, safer, repurpose your assets, reuse them, recycle them, whether they're tangible assets or intangible, and engage your people, reskill them. Not retrain, reskill. Huh? Retrain means doing more of the same. Reskill them to something new. Okay, get ideas from them so that they can produce new ideas, new product. And most importantly, redefine your partnership. Look at your vendors, your customers, your contractors, even your competitors. Work with them, right? Create new value, especially competitors, because you're in the same boat. If the industry is sinking because of this pandemic, there are no more competitors. You're in the same boat. You have to work together to pivot, not the business, but the industry itself, like travel and tourism. There's no point competing with one another if you're in travel and tourism. You have to work together. I have a slide on that later on. Okay. So let me give an example of a product pivot. Okay. We call this leveraging core competency. So let us say you have old products, ABC, okay, coming out from 3 core competencies. And because of the pandemic, demand has collapsed. Nobody wants your product. It loses value. Okay, okay, fine. But you still have your core competency. You still have this. This is your asset. Maybe you have lost the product, but not the competency, not the technology. Okay? So you want to come up with new products to save your business. So what do? Examine your core competence. Maybe from competence 1, you can come up with product X, or maybe you can combine 1 and 2, you come up with product Y, or maybe you can look at competence 2 and 3, come out with product Z. Or you can combine all 3 competency, come up with a wonderful product called product W. So this is how you pivot. Okay? You're giving up a product, but you're not giving up your core competency. So this requires a lot of imagination, rethinking. What can we do with our strengths? So another strategy is complementation. So what is complementation? So let us say you're doing an old normal product. By the way, when I say product, it could be a service. No? Okay, product could be a service product that comes out from a core competence. Okay? Let's say you're good in milling, in aluminum, in plastic, or you're good in data processing, whatever. Okay, and you're coming out with it. So then the demand collapse. Nobody wants that. Now, what you want to do is look at the complementing competence to competence A, call it competence B. So minimal incremental improvement, incremental learning, minimal investment. And by doing so, you can come up with new normal products X, Y, Z. Okay? Now here your ROI is very huge because by investing a little on top of your core competence, you're able to come up with new normal products without reinventing the wheel, without reinvesting the investment. Very minimal capex. So this is another way to pivot. Okay, so let's give an example of pivoting a business. So let's say you're in a pawn shop business, and let's say for the sake of example, this is hit by the pandemic, so there's no demand for pawn shop. People are not pawning anymore. You switch to jewelry shop. Okay, it's a different industry. And then jewelry is hit by the pandemic. Then you shift to a money remittance centers. Now you're moving. It seems like you're moving to a different industry to save your business, but actually you're not. Okay, you're not. We call this pivoting. You're pivoting on the same core competency. You're not investing in new facilities. You're not hiring new people. You're just recycling them, and just adding a little some skills to move to the next subsector. So what are these core competencies you're leveraging? One is you're good in cash management during your pawn shop days. Then you can apply that to jewelry shop management. You're good in fraud detection, which applies to all industries. You're good in security management. You're good in customer privacy, and you have very accessible location. So this is a very easy switch. Right? Okay, it can save your business, but you're not investing a lot on physical assets or new employees. Okay? It's just a little training, then you can move. You can switch. You can switch. You can also apply that to a career. This is a very one of my favorite examples. Let's say you don't have a business, you're a professional. How do you reinvent yourself? Let's say your profession has become obsolete, undesirable. Let's say you're a singer. Okay? You know how to sing. Yeah, you're a good singer, but let's say nobody wants to listen to any songs. Right? So how do you pivot? You pivot to acting. Oh, it's a totally different industry. But let's say acting is hit by the pandemic, then you become a politician. Okay. Now these are three different career shifts, and you say, okay, what's the similarity? What's the difference? They're so different. How can a singer become politician? Okay, it's like the pawn shop example. What do you leverage? It's the same competency. You know how to emote. You know empathy. Okay, especially if you know how to sing. You know role playing. Yeah, you know stage presence and projection. You know public speaking. You know presentation skill. You're media friendly and you have very good memory. So this is what you recycle as a professional. You can move to different careers and make money, maybe make more money. And you can apply this to many careers. But just don't do it the reverse, right? Okay. I don't think politician can pivot to become an actor. An actor can pivot to become that'll be a disaster, right? It's always moving up, moving up. Okay, another set of strategy is, I did mention this, you just have to pivot the process in case it is the problem. You don't have to change the product nor the market. In strategy 2, you don't have to change the process and market, just change the product. Okay? In market pivot, keep the process, keep the product, but change the customer. In product market pivot, you keep the process, maybe it's online or face-to-face, but you change the product and the market. Now you recycle what you don't change. You keep that as your strength. Of course, the next one is you don't change the market, but you offer something different using a different channel. And the most complex, of course, this is the next one. No change in product, but change in process and in market. The most complex is you change all three. Especially if you're doing non-essential and high touch. Now you're familiar with the pandemic pivots. Okay? These are low-hanging fruits. Okay? You have seen apparel makers making face masks because they have the same equipment. You've seen manufacturers making cars, making electronics, start making ventilators. Beverage makers, beer makers, start making alcohol and disinfectant. Was plastic toy makers like Lego at one point started making medical face shields made of plastic, and hotels became quarantine facilities. Okay, so these are very easy, but I'm not recommending this because this is very short-term pivot. Once the health crisis is over, then demand for these products will collapse. Right? But this is an example of easy pivot because you're using the same asset and technology. In fact, one tour operator, because pivot into offering vacation rental for stressed couples in Japan. Very interesting pivot. Okay, so let's go back in time and look at this classic pivots, not because of a crisis, but because they want to grow the business. And if you look at the first two, okay, refreshments, actually they were, Coke and Pepsi were discovered by pharmacists. Okay? There were cures. That's why it's a cure for nerve. It's Coke. It's for indigestion. Okay? Only the buyer, the second buyer, the entrepreneur who bought it from the founders thought let's pivot this into something else. Let's add water and sugar, and the rest is history. They became beverage. Starbucks, of course, was coffee machine and beans became coffee shop. P&G started from Canada. William Wrigley was selling soap, direct selling with free gum. Turns out the customers wanted the free gum more than the soap, so start selling making and selling the gum, and drop the soap and direct selling. Same with Avon. McConnell, the founder, was selling books with free perfume. Turns out that the women who were selling them too were more interested in the perfume, so he dropped the books and started making perfume, but he continued with the direct selling. Okay, these are interesting examples of pivot. The Western Union is telegraph, now it's a money remittance. Nikon is lens, become a camera maker. Bombardier is snowmobile, now into airplanes. BMW started with engines, now it's into bikes and cars. Rolls-Royce, of course, makers of luxury cars, started from cranes and dynamos. Kia was a bicycle maker. Mazda was court making. The last are very, very important examples, Suzuki and Toyota. Would you believe that these two car companies were in the textile and apparel business originally? But of course, in Japan, this became quickly sunset industry. So they have to pivot into something else, like car making. So Toyota was a classic example of pivot from textile machinery to automobile. But nothing was lost because all the expertise they accumulated in making the loom, automatic loom, they applied to car making. All precision machinery, metal working, fine assembly, even the lean manufacturing concepts like Jidoka, smart automation came from weaving and spinning technology they've learned. Okay? Now, this is one company you don't want to pivot. If you're a potential competitor. When Boeing, after Boeing visited Toyota, the president told these people, thank God they're not making airplanes. Okay, so now, of course, they're gonna beat Airbus and Boeing on this because they're good in manufacturing anything. What if they pivot into motorcycle? Hopefully, and of course they're not. So Honda and Harley Davidson will be saying, "Oh, thank God they're not making motorcycles." Right? Yeah. This is what Kawasaki and Suzuki and Yamaha would have said. Right? So thank God they're not making bikes. Let's see. Now I'm gonna show you familiar products here. I'll give you more examples. You're familiar with this brands. Probably you have used some, if not all of them. So what's common among them, other than their good brands? Would you believe they're all pivots? We call it repurposing product features. They became great because, not because of the original concept, because of the pivot concept. For example, POSIT was a defective tape. It doesn't stick, so it was pivoted into a bookmarker. It was an error, pivoted into a marker. WD-40 was a lubricant for aircraft. Now it's a household remover, softener, cleanser, do it all, remove it all. Play-Doh was a wallpaper cleaner product. They just added color. It became a children modeling clay. Viagra, of course, was a heart medicine because of its wonderful side effect. Pfizer repositioned it as a treatment of ED. So instead of selling to cardiologists, now they're selling this thing to urologists. Same with minoxidil. It's originally a ulcer cure, but it came out, it has this wonderful side effect. So it was sold as a hair grower. So of course, jeepney, you're familiar. It was a pivot from military vehicle to a transport vehicle. Southwest was a pivot from selling to air travelers to selling to long distance motorists who were afraid of flying, but now they can fly with a cheaper fare. Levi's were, of course, a very strong, very sturdy apparel. It wasn't meant for casual wear. It was meant for the miners and railroad worker. But it turned out that it was very popular among the office workers and the youth. So it was rebranded and resold as casual wear. Facebook was, of course, a Harvard dating site. Okay, and now it's a social networking. It was pivoted in the global social networking platform. Hilog was a patient diet food in a sanatorium. It was pivoted into a popular snack food. And lastly, the PC was computer was originally for commercial industrial use. Now it's just pivoted into games and productivity. Would you believe that Thomas Watson of IBM said this? I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers. So he could not imagine that computers could be a household fixture. And because of failure to pivot, now the information technology industry is dominated by the tech companies like Intel, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and the rest. So let me just share with you 3 pivot strategies, stories. So Nokia started as a pulp mill, diversified into telecom infra. They pivoted into cell phone. This is good. If this is a chess move, I put 3 exclamation point. Unfortunately, they just produce better cell phone. This is a blunder. This is a blunder. This is how they lost what they pioneered. Compared to Apple, which pivoted from computer to mobile devices to smartphone, same as Samsung, from appliances to mobile device to cell phone, then to smartphone. Now, the risk of Apple and Samsung is just that, again, repeat of history, that they're making the smartphone smarter. They cannot pivot away from a phone. Maybe the next communication device in the future is not going to be a phone. It's going to be smart, but not necessarily a phone. So this is a challenge for these 2 giants in the tech field. So finally, do not just sell what you have as the usual way. If you're in the restaurant business, do not sell meals. Sell immunity. Yeah? Sell better health. It's the same meal, but you position it another way. If you're a sports store, do not sell equipment. Sell stronger bodies. Travel agent, don't sell tours, sell fresh air. Insurance company, don't sell policies, sell peace of mind. This is what we need. Department store, you sell convenience, do not sell gadgets. Cinema, you sell relief, but don't sell movies. Bookstore, don't sell books, sell knowledge to do it DIY or do it at home knowledge. And of course, if you're selling dress and beauty shop, do not sell cosmetic and fashion. Sell them refreshing and healthy looks, especially during video calls. And lastly, should industry pivot? Yes, you have to work together. Okay, it's not enough that your airline is safe. Everybody has to be safe before you get tourists. You cannot have a tourist without a diner, without a safe guest, without a safe passenger, without a safe ride. So we have to work together to make the experience safe before the tourist starts coming back. Okay, so just last few words. Sunk cost is the new cost of the new normal. Don't let your past investment affect your future decisions. Don't let your legacy products cause you to procrastinate, lose precious time, and delay your strategic pivot. No industry is too big to fail in this pandemic. No amount of subsidy or cost cutting can save a business made irrelevant by this crisis. You cannot think out of the box if you're inside the box. So get out and look at from a different point of view. Get outsiders to help you. So pivot to make a difference in the lives of others by being different. And lastly, for many business, the best time to pivot was yesterday. And the second best time is today.
Yeah.
Last slide. I call this strategic pessimism. Right? What is strategic pessimism? It's better to be pessimistic, prepare or pivot for the worst scenario, and then be proven wrong. Then to be optimistic, do nothing, expect things to normalize quickly, and then to be proven wrong. Okay, so that is the right attitude. So with that, I end my short sharing with you, and thank you for your attention. And may I invite you to visit my website, which I mentioned earlier, and my YouTube. I do have my Facebook and LinkedIn account where you can see most of my pandemic posts. Just put the hashtag RTD COVID-19. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Good afternoon again, Professor Rene. Thank you for that very informative and insightful presentation. So I guess we have ample time for 5 to 10 questions.
Yeah.
And just before I open the floor for Q&A, let me just emphasize that please make our questions related to the topic, and let's avoid political questions. Okay, so I have here the first 2 questions that were sent to me anonymously, Prof. The first one is In your expert opinion, how long would this new business paradigm be during the course of the pandemic? Would there be any chance of us going back to how we conduct our business prior to the pandemic? And if so, when?
Well, it's not a black and white. It's a probability issue. The risks are very high. We're not going back to the old normal. We're not going back, right? So you better be prepared. Be pessimistic. Do not hope that things will go back to normal. Right? That's what I call strategic pessimism. Otherwise, you will lose precious time. You cannot reverse time if you miss the boat. If you miss the boat, like yesterday. Okay. So that's my answer, because I'm sure people will change behavior. Just right now, we're so used with this webinar online. We're used to talking online. This never happened before. So this will continue. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Prof. And the second one is, on the macro level, how important would the role of the national leadership be in assuring that business continue to thrive during the pandemic? I suppose it's not much of a political question, Prof.
Politically motivated. My answer to that is very simple, Chris. I think we're throwing money at the wrong problem. Money means social amelioration, paycheck, subsidy. I think the government should subsidize winning industries, not losing industries. Okay. If you subsidize an irrelevant industry, it will stay irrelevant. It's a waste of money. Right? Let's use money to build entrepreneurs, startups. Okay? This is where we need money. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Prof. Here's another question from past President Junjun Dairy. Is business hibernation during this crisis not an option? Why or why not?
Well, if you have deep pockets and you have cash to burn, you can hibernate, right? But very few people can hibernate without burning cash, right? If you have deep pocketed, you can. But it's not an option for many small and medium businesses. By the way, pivot is not just for large companies. This applies to small and medium businesses. They're even more at risk than the large companies. They cannot hibernate. Okay.
All right. Here's another question, Prof. Can we continue to provide services of the right quality and efficiency with the assurance of security if adopting dictates as to work from home? Example, schools, continuing education for healthcare services, medical, dental, etc.
Well, I cannot answer that in detail. The different profession industries will have to rethink. No? How do you provide these services online or at home service or online? But that will be the way to pivot. You cannot expect them to go to work or to go to your clinic or to go to the hospital. You have to change the process. The product may not change, the service may not change, but the delivery of the process will have to change. Okay? That is for sure.
Okay, that's where the thinking out of the box should come into play, right, Prof?
Okay.
That's correct.
Tuason.
All right.
Tuason.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Any other question from the audience? For as long as it's not political and it's not, it's related to the subject matter.
Okay.
Okay. While waiting for other questions, Prof, let me ask you this question. You have cited a lot of examples, a lot of good things about pivoting, but when do you know, or how would you know that pivoting is not an option for your company or your business?
It's not an option. Well, if you're in the first quadrant, you're doing essential and you're doing low touch, like you're in power, you're in water, why should you pivot? Okay, there's a demand there. In fact, you just become efficient. You just become efficient and don't have shortages, don't have stock out. Then you're safe.
Okay.
Then you're safe.
Or perhaps seek help, right?
Yes.
From Professor Domingo.
Yeah, or somebody outside the box, right?
Right.
Outside the box.
Okay. Any other questions, fellow Rotarians and guests, friends?
No more.
Okay. I guess that's about it. And
everything has been so clear.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. It's been okay. With that, I guess we can end the Q&A. Thank you for answering those questions, Professor Domingo.
Chris, may question dito sa chat box.
Oh,
how do you pivot
yes,
to
sir.
real estate business and where will education go? Did you see that?
There's another one. Yeah. Where will education go? Yeah.
Well, I think education will still be education, but we have to be more efficient in delivery. We cannot waste time teaching so many things. No? Now we have to be more productive, no, in teaching the right stuff because we have shorter attention span. Okay, and the delivery is much more difficult. So we cannot be inefficient in education. Okay, real estate. Yeah, how do you pivot real estate? You know, real estate is still in the old mold. No? People are looking at houses and condominium differently. They want safety in condominiums. They want safe. They want remote places. They don't want to be near people. Okay, so you have to reconfigure the building such that there is social distancing. No? And there are a lot of safety features inside, like filters, comfort room, and you have a quarantine room inside. This is, I think, the building of the future, pandemic ready. Okay, so you can be quarantined at home. You don't have to be quarantined in Rizal Coliseum, no, or someplace, right? Okay, you'll be accredited as a quarantine ready condo. This is just my personal idea. No? Unfortunately, the condo guys are not thinking this way. No? They're still doing the same mold, no? Okay, with all this swimming pool, all these gardens, but they're not addressing the safety side. No? The pain points, the new fear points of the new normal consumers.
Okay. There's one more question, Prof. Professor Domingo. Is the speaker open to consulting privately?
Well, I do consulting even now, even before the pandemic. This is how I share my experience, not only from Japan, but from my research. I'm into healthcare, fortunately, so I help a lot of hospitals. No? Of course, I started in manufacturing. But what is important is to help not only the big companies, but also the small and medium, right? Because they're more in need. Right? They really need help. Right? Not just financially, no? They need knowledge how to do these things. No?
Okay. All right. So I think this is the final question, Professor Domingo. What sort of areas are travel companies going towards?
Again, could you repeat that, Chris?
What sort of areas are travel companies going towards?
Travel.
Yes, travel, sir.
I think I mentioned that in one of my slides. I think travel should focus more on ecotourism, health tourism, not this bucket list tourism, no? Okay, in which you just look at wonderful sight. You attach it to health, you attach it to environment. I think this will fly. Huh? It's a niche, but you can grow that niche. Okay? And people would be willing to spend and to risk, no? If the returns are high. No? Okay? Not just entertainment. You don't do travel for entertainment. It's gonna be tough. No? Okay? You will do travel to improve your health, to improve the environment. Then there's value, no? in going out. I'm talking of offline travel, not online travel, like virtual travel. You want face-to-face travel, you have to rethink the meaning of why people travel. It's very different now.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Professor Rene Domingo.
Okay.
Yeah, it was an excellent presentation. So at this point, let me now call on President Louis Asioche for his response.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Well, each time I hear the word pivot, I am brought to a basketball court where a player positions and repositions himself to have a clearer view of the basket and lose a defensive player in the process. It is essentially a quick but measured response to a given challenging situation, and as what Professor Rene said, innovate under duress. Yeah. So it is in that sense that our speaker today, Professor Rene Domingo, a distinguished professor at the Asian Institute of Management, and my fraternity brother, the UP Tau Gamma Phi, framed this talk for business establishments who are or may be struggling during this pandemic. Rather than slip into oblivion, irrelevance, and bankruptcy, Professor Rene challenges the business establishments, and most especially the MSMEs, to be creative, think outside the box, and repurpose their present assets and facilities in order to survive. He centered on two areas that are affected by the pandemic: the product, which is the item, goods and services, and the process is how you manufacture or how you deliver your items. Both have been affected by the preference or voice of the consumer, who have now become budget conscious and safety conscious. Hence, not only should your item or service be inexpensive, but they should also be maintaining good quality, and the consumers must be assured that your items have passed healthy safety standards. But Professor Rene, let us not also lose sight of the sector which was also suffered, or which has suffered greatly because of the pandemic, and this is the labor sector. Saving one's businesses also has the effect of saving jobs, and saving jobs would ensure that families would not go hungry and will be able to still send their children to school. That is why it's very important that businesses continue to survive. I am sure that you, Professor Rene, also has a proposed pivot for employees who have been affected, such as rethinking their careers while they still have an opportunity to do so. But that is a possible topic some other time. So, Professor Rene, my brother, thank you for the informative and very interesting presentation. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Makati, our aunts, our district governor, the indefatigable Georgie Tan, the other Rotarians from the different Rotary clubs in our district, especially from my life-changing president classmates, Rotaractors, and all the other guests in attendance here today, my Tuscanian brothers, please accept our heartfelt gratitude. As a token of our appreciation, we will be sending you a copy of our 50th table book, coffee table book. This contains the achievements of our club for the past 50 years, and together with a bottle of Merlot for you to enjoy.
Thank you.
Aside from the wine and book, Professor Rene, please accept this plaque of appreciation for sharing your time and expertise as our guest speaker today.
Thank you.
The plaque, can you see it? The plaque includes a replica of the steel plate that we shall be putting in a wreath bud dedicated just for you, to be planted in the Sea of Narvacan, Ilocos Sur. This is part of our Save Our Reefs project, which is a major environmental initiative of the club, initiated by IPP Peter Manzano, in line with the Rotary's 7th area of focus, which is Save the Environment. Our Save Our Reef project aims to help revive and regenerate nearshore marine ecosystems. So now,
thank you very much.
I haven't gone yet. May I request everyone to open their camera for our usual photo op with our guest speakers today. Okay. Give me your biggest smile. All right. And more. Okay. Now, before we adjourn, as I have mentioned earlier, I will be showing you the second teaser video for my induction on August 6th. The guys you saw in the first video, my directors, my advisors, and my officers, apparently were up to no good. And this second video will show you what they are planning to do.
Tingnan mo itong second video.
Sit back again and watch. Roll the tape, please.
Ito yung second.
Mute. Mute. Roll.
Moderator. Also, I suppose, no?
I hope that would interest you more into attending our induction on August 6th.
Yes.
With that, I will now adjourn this meeting. See you again next Tuesday. Our speaker would be Mr. Joey Concepcion of Go Negosyo. Good afternoon. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, President Louis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, Louis. Great job.